I've been really interested to see how the left will adapt. So we talked about these black pill people, and some of them have been saying to me on Twitter, "No, Nick, they'll just double down. They'll double down on woke, and they'll get even more woke." I'm thinking, like, why would they do that? They've just been absolutely obliterated. They've lost the Senate, the House, the popular vote. They've just been absolutely just pulverized by Trump. And we even saw, I didn't mention it earlier, Obama didn't even want Harris. He was saying there'll be an open and fair process, and then immediately Harris was in. So it seemed he was sort of humiliated on that to me. It seemed he didn't even want Harris. So what I say is they'll get a kind of Newsom figure, and I see already some people are pushing Newsom today. It might not be him because he's got a bad record, but it could easily be him. They'll get someone plausible looking like Newsom. They'll make him say less woke stuff, and they'll have to just get more realistic to have any chance. What do you think, though?
Yeah, they'll put the woke away. I mean, they have to if they have got any chance whatsoever of coming back in American politics now. They have to. I mean, to be fair, people like the Young Turks have been saying this for a long time, and here even Aaron Bastani has been saying it. Everybody hates woke. It's gonna go. That's done. Been dead. I won my bet a long time ago, Nick. Everybody knows that. Anybody with half a brain cell knows that. I know Aaron McIntyre has to keep up his end, but come what may, it'll be
Yeah, and
really
just for anyone that
obvious
doesn't
that.
know, anyone that missed the last episode, Nima has a bet with Orman McIntyre. You say that the woke, as in the superficial, egregious aspects of woke, will be suddenly got rid of, and he says that it won't because there are true believers. And you say there's too many true believers; they're captured by ideology. You say no, it's only about power, and it'll be put away. And I have to say, the recent events do sort of go in your favor. I mean, I think that they'll put it away. And all the other institutions will take a long time to catch up. So the Dems will go full MAGA, but the National Trust in England will still be talking about colonialism for like another 2 years. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I remember. I mean, a buddy of ours put out a video recently about the prospect of UK being like a woke North Korea. We've got like a fully based Europe and a fully based America, but we're still woke North Korea. I can see it happening because
Yes.
we seem to be like the last holdout for some reason. But yeah, in general, I've already seen assessments like this in some parts of the left that they were too woke and they were too anti-Semitic. That is, they've been the two talking points. Um, you know, which is basically they were seen to be too pro-Palestinian. And these two things, I think, in the general discourse have been tied together. You know, um, by various different talking heads that woke and support for Palestine go together as a package. So they want to kind of that will be blamed, I think, for why people have just been turned off. And one of the things that's very interesting is the left talking about how do you attract men? Why have men so heavily? I mean, the numbers for Trump were insane. Not just white men either, Latino men too, and black men. 20% of black men went for Trump. Um, and I mean, you know, me and you know the answer. You can't spend a decade talking about toxic masculinity, homosexuality, dressing up as a woman, and God knows what
Yeah.
else, and appeal to men. I mean,
The lack of
obviously,
any
this is
sort of
just
aspiration or heroism, and which Musk represented, but there's no aspiration for men on the left.
and I mean, you talked about Gavin Newsom. One of the kind of magic weapons that the Democrats may have is that Gavin Newsom. Do you ever read like Batman comics, Nick? Like, or have you ever seen like a Batman? He looks like a politician
Yeah,
from
yeah,
a Batman comic. He has just got
yes.
he's a perfect looking cartoon politician. Okay. And I've just got this idea that he could dress up as American Psycho, in the 80s, pinstripe, And there's a scene in American Psycho where he just goes out and randomly like kills a homeless person just for fun. And I reckon that Gavin Newsom could do so. I'm hyperbolizing a little bit, but he could embody that kind of America, that kind of like 80s psycho. And that could be really appealing to a lot of guys just because he looks quite Chad, you know. And you laugh, but if you can imagine the Gavin Newsom JD Vance debate, it's like a Chad Virgin. Like I like Vance, we all like Vance, right? But he's a nerd. Like he's somebody who looks like he may play video games, right? Whereas Gavin Newsom, just looks like an old-fashioned jock, and things like that can, it's the lizard brain again. It's the lizard brain again. So
Yeah.
I do think the Democrats could come back with a very different message, but who knows? A lot could happen in 4 years.
Yeah.
And I've already seen Gavin Newsom is doing cringy things like, I'm going to take the fight to Trump in California and stuff. If they carry on in that mode, they're finished,
No, that's when it's over. But yeah, I saw a clip of him, and it was a guy who was like working for Team Harris Waltz, but he was already sharing a video of Gavin Newsom smoking DeSantis, or in his mind, it smoked him in a similar way to you mentioned that could happen with Vance. You go up against a DeSantis or a Vance, like you say, and you're a Newsom with a more classic all-American look. Yeah, a more alpha look. You could do well if they just make him say less silly stuff. He's got his bad record on COVID. Again, if they change the narrative, they could probably deal with that quite quickly because he's such a plausible looking person, as you say. Or it could be someone else like him. I mean, one place they went really wrong, it seems to me, looking at elite theory, was the failure to incorporate new talents. This is something you mentioned again in the populist delusion. They did it to such an obscene level. I mean, if you're the Democrats and you're alienating the nephew of John F. Kennedy, how wrong have you gone? And if you're alienating the guy that makes the electric cars that you love, the guy who's basically into transhumanism via Neuralink, who's into transplanetaryism, whatever that's called, by wanting to get to Mars. You alienate the richest man in the world, rocket making electric car guy, and you alienate a Kennedy. It just seems to me they were completely done because they become so ossified that they couldn't incorporate anyone, right?
Nick, they even alienated Caitlyn Jenner. I mean, come on.
True.
They can't even
keep
Caitlyn Jenner. They can't even keep their troons. So
yeah. Thanks for watching. That clip was from the extended version of my interview with Academic Agent, which is only available on nickdixon.net. You get an extra half an hour that's not in the YouTube version. So if you want that and all my full interviews with guests like Carl Benjamin, aka Sargon of Akkad, all my articles and loads more, go to nickdixon.net, and it's only $5 to sign up and help me save the West. nickdixon.net. Thank you very much.